Welcome, everybody. My name is Marvel Bishop, and you're now tuning in to the NoWayButUp podcast, Art Basel edition. Thank you for everybody for listening, the viewership. YouTube, Instagram, SoundCloud, now on Spotify and iTunes. Appreciate everybody for tuning in as always. Today's a little bit of a different day. Today's a little bit of a different day because I have a person that I recently met. I would feel like what?
Like 2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. Yeah, 2 weeks ago. You just randomly just hit me up on Instagram, like to say, hey, nice to meet you. And then this dope person by the name of Miss Noelle. How are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm doing well. This is my first podcast.
You're not nervous, aren't you?
I'm a little bit nervous.
No, that's fine. You got some vodka to, chill the nerves a little bit, But number one, I definitely appreciate you for coming by. And just for this, celebration, this conversation for art, for just everything that is dope pretty much in the world. So, I was actually going through my notes and just, like my process on how to do this conversation with you. And I was kind of lost. And the reason why I was lost, because this is the first time I have actually, interviewed a muse.
Wow.
Yeah. That's for real.
Cool.
And
have you interviewed models before?
Yeah, I have, but I feel like a muse is a little bit different. No offense to the models, because I know a lot of them, and they're probably gonna kill me for fucking saying this. but models can be muses, but I feel like once you're just just focusing on becoming a muse, it's a little bit different. So, to start off, in your definition, what is a muse?
I feel like a muse is someone who inspires the artists. Like, a lot of times they contact me because they have a particular vision, and with the flexibility and my body shape and things that I do, they particularly have a vision that they feel that I could pull off, and they're just like, I think we could create something really epic. And the goal would be to keep it artistic, to do something that is different, that breaks outside of just standard modeling, because I'm doing something that really emphasizes the human form and the beauty of lines and the body.
Yeah, you really accentuate actually the human anatomy, honestly, and how you can kind of contort and how you can basically shape yourself into the image when you do shoots. So where does this all come from?
So I started with ballet at about age 4. And then I went into tap dancing for a little bit. Then I did gymnastics starting about the same age, like a toddler, very young.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So my mom is a gymnastics coach, and she coached me my entire life. I credit her for my flexibility, she taught me my splits, my back bend, my walkovers, my basic, cartwheel, everything. And then, so I did gymnastics my entire life, and then I started martial arts at age 12.
Oh, so you can kick some ass.
I have 3 black belts.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
oh, wow. All right, no doubt. I did Shotokan, so.
I have done martial arts now for over 20 years. So
nice. What style?
Shuri Shurin, Taekwondo, and Tong Sudo.
Mine is Shotokan.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And then I've done Krav Maga and XMA, which is extreme martial arts. And my forte is forms or kata, and I loved creative forms where you make up your own forms,
Form
you
from
make up
the other
your
forms,
own,
basically.
right?
Okay, so you're
very
not
artistic.
this Kill Bill person right there. You can just snap people's necks and well, you probably
I'd
can
say
if you want to.
with the Krav Maga, which is hand-to-hand combat, that was much more practical. Aside from just the art form, I really loved the art form.
How does that Or does it? Does it help with you being a muse?
Absolutely.
How?
I credit martial arts for a lot of my creativity. Like,
Okay.
in martial arts, they put us on the spot a lot, especially in leadership training, like learning how to become an instructor. They would just be like, okay, we're going to hand you the nunchucks and like you've got 30 seconds, like go out in front of the group and like put together a form. And form meaning kata, like different styles word it differently. But I grew up being a super shy kid. I'm still very, like, I would identify myself
Hence
as,
why you
like,
took so long to do a first podcast.
Absolutely. So, it's something that I really want to see myself break out of, and I think it's really interesting to see how modeling and, like, especially nude modeling, like, that shocked my family. It shocked like my friends.
Is your family like more like a traditional type of style? Because you are from North Carolina,
extremely conservative. I grew up Southern Baptist.
Oh wow!
So my mom is actually, she was born and raised Catholic.
Okay.
And then she converted over to being Southern Baptist as an adult, and I was raised Southern Baptist. I was in church like almost every day of the week. I was homeschooled, so yeah, I was in youth group,
so
church
this explains
choir.
everything for your Instagram. Okay, this explains a lot.
Yeah, it really does, and I think people have this preconceived idea of who I am or what kind of lifestyle I live, or
does that kind of get you pissed off a little bit sometimes, where like when they see your Instagram and they think that like you're just like this sexual like being, whatever, whereas like it's not really the case.
And then too, I think they think I'm also like super confident in my body.
Okay.
And I think that I am to some extent.
Well, to do what you do, you got to have some type of level of confidence.
Right. But I think that I still struggle a lot with body image, and but it's interesting how doing this has helped me, and it's been really therapeutic as well. And that's a big point of my art, is helping people to embrace their body as it is, and to realize that they're beautiful as they are, you know, in their journey and their progress. Like some people are working on their fitness and like just finding that confidence, and also not being ashamed of their body, like whether you're overweight or you're super thin, or, you know, the other thing is like being raised with social stigmas as far as like showing skin. Like I was raised super conservative, where we couldn't wear bikinis. Like
so talk about so talk about the conservative nature that you pretty much were brought up in. When you first came out with your first picture, number one, how did your family react? Who was the first person that saw it in your family that was like, and how was the reaction?
Probably, I'm very close to my mom and sister, so my mom and I have definitely gone back and forth on conflicting views, and like it was kind of like, you know, like I have a master's degree and I've worked really hard for like my career and education, and like my mom was just like, I've also always been like the poster child and like always behaved well. Like,
got it. Are you the oldest?
Yes, I'm the oldest.
Of what?
Of two.
Brother, sister, two.
I have one sister, and she's high functioning autistic.
Oh,
so that adds, you know, something. And I feel like my mom was just a little bit like, I wouldn't say disappointed, but she was concerned about why I would have interest in doing that, and also my safety and other people's intent.
Okay, I got you.
And also just in general, like my image, because I don't think that it was automatically viewed as artistic. And I still think that that's a regular struggle to find the line between art and...
So how do people view it then if it's not artistic? Like what's the struggle right there?
I think that there's definitely like the sexy, sexualized side.
Got it.
And there's not to say that there's anything wrong with that, but I feel like it's a struggle to figure out where I could cross that line, and I really prefer not to. I think sometimes I do shoots where I might wear lingerie, and like I might look at the photos and think, I really like these photos. Like it's okay sometimes to do boudoir style photos and like feel sexy and feel confident, and I really don't see anything wrong with that. But I think sometimes unintentionally photos get taken where I don't know, it's just like the angle, or like sometimes I look at a photo and I think that I don't feel comfortable with that going online, and that's not the image that I want to portray. And I feel like my biggest goal is to keep it more, within the artistic realm where people look at it and they say, that's art. Like you embodied it, like your lines, the grace in the photo, like your poise. I think also not showing the face a lot of times helps to keep it more artistic form, where it's kind of like mysterious.
Hence why we're actually filming it the way that we're filming right now for this podcast, to basically show who you are as a person, as far as like Noelle. So I got a question. When it comes to your process of being a nude muse, talk to me about that. Talk to me about the process. Talk to me like what you go through. How do you get set up? How do you prepare yourself for it?
So I prepare myself by working out. Like I think cardio is really important. A lot of stretching. I don't necessarily call it yoga. A lot of people think I'm a yogi. And I think that I am a yogi as far as like, that I have my own personal practice, and it is like a personally developed stretching routine. And a lot of that came from my gymnastics and martial arts background.
Nice.
I started hashtagging yoga, and, I got featured on a lot of yoga related pages because it crosses over, and a lot of the poses that I do that just came natural happen to be yoga poses. So, and I do embrace yoga. Like when I'm able to, I do go to yoga classes and things like that, but I actually have never been enrolled in yoga classes, or like, if there is any branch of yoga that I really connect with, it's acro yoga, and I have done that for a while. But so I do the cardio, I do stretching. When I'm getting closer to a shoot, I do try to watch what I eat. People ask me a lot, am I on a particular diet? And I was vegetarian for over 20 years, like most of my life,
and
like all of my childhood. And I also went through a couple years of being vegan, and also being like on the keto diet.
So you try different things, basically. You don't really like try. You don't really do like the same thing, like.
And my education is health related. Like my undergrad is complementary and alternative health.
Does depending on the type of shoot that you do, does what you eat predicates?
Absolutely.
Like,
so if I have a big shoot that I'm like really wanting to do well on, my preferred look is to look leaner. And I had that discussion with a photographer recently where he said, Like I was diagnosed hypothyroid last year,
Oh,
so
wow.
I
Okay.
struggle with my weight now.
I got you.
Like I put on, I would say about maybe like 6 pounds really quick, and I know that might not sound like a lot, but
Oh, it is.
within
I
like
mean,
a
in
matter of like
pictures,
2 months,
yeah.
like to put on almost 10 pounds.
And pictures and
then,
videos, you know, like you automatically put 10 pounds on anyway. So it's like.
and then I was struggling. I still really struggle with like water weight, like water
Understandable.
lines, and hypothyroidism affects so much, like with me being exhausted all the time, like I don't sleep right, my energy's not good, digestion, like so. And I've had autoimmune thyroiditis for a long time, but the hypothyroid diagnosis came in the last year. And so like when my modeling first kicked off, that was a little over a year ago. Like I would definitely say this time last year was like a peak for me where I was, that's when I really took off. I would say between July and October last year, I went from like 2,000 followers to I just got hit up by a bunch of photographers that were really big names and our photos went viral, and I went from like 2,000 followers from about May to July last year to October last year. I was at over 75K
just like that.
quickly. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, because I shot with like some really big names, and yeah, so it was just like a crazy couple of months.
Sound like you just kind of like progressed so quick that.
Very quick, yeah. And then I ended up dating a guy that didn't want me to do it anymore.
Oh, wow.
And so
Okay. That's actually a question that I have later on.
Mm-hmm.
But before we get into that, so you know, muses are basically, it's a canvas for, you know, photographers, painters, however you want. And the reason why these people actually contact you because you are basically an inspiration to them. Now, I think a question that people don't really ask is that where does the muse get the inspiration from for them? So where do you get?
Great question. So for me, the artists, like photographers or artists, as far as if they're a painter, or I've had people reach out, artists of all types, like sculptors. It's really cool. Like especially in Miami, there's like concepts and types of artists that I've never heard of, and I'm really excited about that. That there's like so many different things that people want to do, like as far as a collaboration. But I received tons of messages like that, and for me to actually follow up with an artist, I have to be inspired by them. I have to check out their stuff and really love what they do and know that that's someone that I want to create with. So any of the artists that I've worked with, they're people who inspire me and who, it's interesting too, like in a lot of cases, they're people that I have followed for years, and I might start liking their photos, or they may have realized it over the course of years. Like they might be like, I've seen her face, and then it could be a process, and they find my page, and then they're like, hey, like, so it's interesting, like they'll end up reaching out, but I was like liking their photos or commenting, and that kind of leads to that connection.
Gotcha.
I do have people reach out that I've never heard of before, and I'll go to their page, and if I really feel like it's going to be a collaboration that makes sense, and I really like what they do, or they present a vision. In some cases, I may not even off the bat love their art, but I really respect people who can communicate well, and like people who send me a message and they put a lot of thought into it and they have a vision for what they want to do.
Got it.
And they're respectful. You know, I feel like that really speaks to me, and I'm like, yeah, like let's do this. Let's see what we can create.
Good. So the type of style that you have when it comes to like your art is it's of a fashion where like you don't show your face. Now, in the beginning, you said that as you were growing up, you were dealing with some type of insecurity as far as being shy and just being not really like that outgoing. And that does kind of, is a reflection of like how you pretty much were raised. Does your not showing of your face, does it cope with your insecurities, or does it actually propel your insecurities to basically become more confident?
I feel like me not showing my face was never out of insecurity. Because I've never had an issue actually with my face. So I think that's actually, you pointed out something that I haven't thought about myself, and that's my biggest insecurities have been with like my belly, like this is crazy, but like my butt, like growing up, I always was embarrassed. Like I was
really?
like, yeah, my mom would be like, "Oh, you got a bubble butt," or like, my aunts, like people would just like say things, and I would be like, "I wish this wasn't the case." Like I'm so embarrassed, and then it's interesting too, like as I've gotten older, my chest has gotten bigger, especially with the thyroid issues. Like I went from an A to a C, like,
oh wow,
and a lot of people would think
jumping across
that
there
they would like love that. I had people ask me, did I have surgery? Like you can actually see that difference from my earlier pictures to now. I've had photographers that I worked with last year to this year. Like we don't always see each other. Like months will go by, and they're like, "Whoa, like, are you pregnant? Like, did you, like, did you have surgery?" And it's just like dealing.
How does that make you feel as a woman?
Honestly, like I'm really close to a lot of these photographers, and we're just on that level where
I got
it
you.
doesn't
I understand.
offend me.
Doesn't really okay.
Like it's funny because it's like as shocked as they are, I'm like, yeah, like it's a change for me. Like
yeah.
And it's weird to go through those changes outside of puberty, like just and I think I would say women could relate to that, but probably also men. Like you have whether it's a medical issue or you're dealing with emotional issues like weight fluctuations and body changes happen, and it can be really hard to deal with. But as far as my face, I've never had insecurities about it. I will say that I don't feel I'm a photogenic, like facially photogenic person.
Well, when I asked you that question, I was not necessarily talking about your face. I was just talking about just overall, like how you feel. That's what I was talking about. That was my angle, honestly. Because you are a beautiful woman. It's just that, especially with the type of art that you do, some people would feel kind of insecure, but not really showing their face because of what they're pretty much doing.
Yeah, so I just think it's just not natural most of the time turn my head and my face be showing.
I got it. Okay.
And then the other thing is, it wasn't originally intentional. Like a lot of the poses I'm doing are splits or back bends or some type of acrobatic or flexible pose. And with it being nude, we're trying to catch appropriate angles and keep it artistic. So I don't do a lot of frontal angles with my face showing.
Yeah,
so,
and then a good thing too is that what I realized when I was going through your Instagram is that you actually not showing your face, basically, like it really allows you. That's very humbling of you, honestly, to not show your face, because a lot of people is like, no, I want to show my face because they want to be, they want to be shown as that person that they want to be in the limelight. But for you, and this is what it's all about when it comes to art. You are about the art at the end of the day. So it's like you not showing your face and you basically having that mindset and that forwardness to be like, hey, listen, you know what? I'm about the art. It's actually propelling you to more of like a bigger entity than who you as who you are.
Thank you. I appreciate that feedback.
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
really
and it really just brings you into just another level. And actually, I feel like more artists and more photographers, knowing the type of person, or I guess they'll assume the type of person that you are through the Instagram, would actually want to shoot with you more because a lot of models, and this is how I feel. A lot of models, and I guess people who are canvases or whatever, like I said, like they're trying to basically, I guess, not necessarily take all the credit, but like they're making it all about themselves versus, what's more important, which is basically what you guys are shooting. So I just pretty much, wanted to tell you that.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
We have a little bit of time. We got to wrap up, but as a person who is a muse, what kind of feedback, what kind of advice would you want to give someone who does want to get into the nude art realm, and any experiences that you had that were not so good that you actually learned, and you actually pretty much learned from that experience that you can pretty much warn, especially women, because it can be I'm trying to think of the right word. Not danger. Well, it could be dangerous.
No, it could
okay. So talk about it. Okay, you know what? I'm gonna shut up. Go ahead. Please talk about it.
Definitely be dangerous
for a couple minutes. Yeah.
And I think that I've been fortunate that nothing bad has happened.
Thank God.
We also have to remember I've had like over 20 years of martial arts.
Yeah.
Other people don't always have that self-defense training where like
so people don't fuck with you.
I already size people up. I'm already kind of fearful, honestly, of like I also have a history of domestic violence with like my childhood, and I feel like I'm already sometimes thinking the worst of someone that if I don't know them well and we're doing a shoot, like I'm already coming into that situation wondering what their motives are. I'm questioning the situation, and I'm very aware because of past experiences, and also constantly being reminded that we're not living in a safe world. Like,
never. You always gotta keep your head on swivel.
People have good motives and they don't. And I've also heard a lot of stories related to models, especially in the nude photography industry. Like,
there's a lot of fucking creeps out there.
Yes. And so I would recommend, like, I get tons of DMs. I get DMs from people who are self-proclaimed photographers. Not to say that it's a bad thing at all, but you have to be careful because sometimes there are guys who reach out who have no photography experience, and they're like, you don't know what their motives are, and they're like, hey, I'd love to shoot you, let me know what your rates are. And just because they're willing to pay you does not mean that you're entering a professional or safe situation.
Got it.
I do recommend, if you have not worked with a photographer before, especially if you have no reference. Like for me, in some cases, if I've had several friends and other photographers or entrepreneurs recommend someone, then I feel like I have a pretty good feel of who they are. At least I have that recommendation from people that I trust. But I think if you don't know the photographer, you don't have people who do know that person, it's best to bring a friend with you. Another recommendation is like the Find Your Friends app. Like if you can't find someone to go with you, always let them know
location, where you're at. Got it.
Yeah. I'll have friends that'll say, hey, text me at this time, like text me in an hour when you get out. And they get paranoid. If I don't say something, they start calling me. Like, I think it's important that people, at least one or two people, know where you're at if they can't be present with you. I would also say, as far as even if the person doesn't have ill intent for you, like as far as bringing direct danger to you, you need to be very careful with the nude modeling as far as what are they capturing, because sometimes even if it's not your intent, they could get an angle that is not what you want to have portrayed of yourself. And
communication is key.
Yeah, looking through all of the photos, making sure that you know what they captured on their camera. And I do recommend having your own contract that they sign, like an agreement that they need to run any photos by you before they go online. For me, I don't show my face, like, unless we've pre-discussed it. I say no, like, legs open shots. Like, I prefer side angles, back angles. I rarely do frontal shots.
Got it.
And if we do, I have to be really careful about what is captured.
Okay. Yeah, that's a lot. That's actually really good. I just really feel like, communication, like I said, is definitely the biggest thing between like the muse and the photographer, to really understand what kind of what you guys are pretty much going at. And if there's something that you don't like, you have to voice it,
Absolutely.
I feel like a lot of models, they just let shit go thinking that it's okay or that's just pretty much the way it's supposed to be. No, that's not the case. Like, you have a voice just because that, you're getting paid. That does not mean that anything can just fucking fly. Like, and that's coming from a person who is a photographer that,
Right.
I try to, really, really tell models or tell people I'm working with, hey, listen, if you do feel more comfortable, bring somebody, bring an escort, bring someone to the shoot, So, I think that's it, honestly. This has been really, really like refreshing, honestly.
Thank
and
you.
I really appreciate you coming. Really quick, are you doing anything for Art Basel? Anything coming up?
I am working with 1,000 mermaids.
Okay, cool.
And they are like a coral reef restoration, and also they're making man-made coral reefs to take pressure off of natural coral reefs.
Okay.
So they're going to be body casting me live.
Nice.
They're making
During
me
Art
into
Basel.
a mermaid. Yeah.
Okay, there you go.
That will be at Fountain Blue on December 5th.
I'm definitely going to come. Let me know about the tickets. I'll definitely come by.
Yeah,
Good.
so that's going to be cool.
Okay, cool. What does NoWayButUp mean to you?
What does
NoWayButUp mean to you?
NoWayButUp.
Yes. The meaning, the mantra, the podcast, the brand that I have. What is in your soul? What does that mean?
I would say just keeping your eyes on moving forward, like on improving your vision, on going after your dreams. For me, a big thing is not letting the thoughts inside of my head pull me backwards, where I think I'm not ready to shoot right now. Like, I'm just not in my best form. Or like today, it would have been really easy to not show up because I'm afraid.
I had a feeling that you were going to cancel on me, honestly.
So,
I had that slight feeling.
I wouldn't, because I'm not that kind of person.
I got you. But I understood. I'm a very judge-free type of person. I'm very empathetic.
That's something I think in response to your question, NoWayButUp, is for me to move forward, there are a lot of things where I have to break outside of fear.
Got it.
And I've met people who have said I'm the most fearful person they've ever met. Like, I have a lot of, and I think people with like trauma have that, like just a lot of fears, and a lot of them are irrational. Like, I have a lot of social anxiety related fears. I've had a lot of opportunities for performances and things like that. And sometimes I feel like as I get older, it's actually getting worse. But I feel like I've got to push myself to break outside of that and really work on my mental strength of getting beyond that. And like today, this was such a positive experience.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
So now I'm not afraid. Like,
there you go. So this will not be the last podcast you've ever done. I hope that there's going to be a slew of podcast events that you're going to do. And it's just, just always trying to sharpen that iron, sharpen that tool, as much as you can. And that's pretty much what NoWayButUp is all about. And for the simple fact, as you said, that you do have those social anxieties and those insecurities, is definitely it's very encouraging to see the type of work that you actually do, because that is not an easy thing. And the simple fact that you are that person and you are that canvas, it really shows a different side of you, and just gives a certain type of inspiration, for women, for people in general, to really go outside the box. So I appreciate you. So where we can find you on Instagram real quick?
At Crystallized _thought, THOUGHT.
Got it. Okay, cool. Appreciate your time. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
NoWayButUp, guys, as always. Until next time.